Oh, uh, holidays are very stressful, y'all, and every year it seems like it's just another thing to just cause some more drama in your families. So let's just say this. So, guess who got left out of the family group chat again? Right? Oh, you know that moment. That moment when your phone doesn't ding, but everybody else's did. That moment you scroll through Facebook and see matching pajamas and the dinner table and the whole family's together in a photo and your seat is empty. Yeah, that type of thing. Holidays have a way of making survivors feel invisible in the room that they once felt like was home. And the truth is, it's not the food or the lights or the tree that hurts. It's the silence. It's being erased. It's being treated as if your survival was the problem and their comfort is the priority. So tonight we're going there, all the way there, uncensored, because being ostracized by your own family during the holidays is a special kind of heartbreak, and survivors like us, we deserve to talk about that. So let's get into it. Well, welcome back to Through the Eyes of Survivors. I have the lovely Amanda here with us again today. And we're going to talk today about that thing all the families love to whisper about. And since the holidays are here, we're going to tear off that wrapping paper right off and look at all those ugly parts. Right, Amanda?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So holidays feel heavy. If you felt forgotten or left out, that's definitely tonight is for you. So we're talking about the exclusion and family dysfunction and emotional abandonment, all the way how survivors get blamed for setting their own boundaries, right, Amanda? So, yeah, real talk this time and humor where appropriate, but definitely some validation going to happen here tonight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that if you are listening in on this and you have, again, dealt with something that Tara talked at the beginning of this, please let us know because this is something that is way too common in our survivor community. And it's not talked about a lot, Tara, is it? It's
No,
really not.
no, but we sure do feel it
Oh,
every holiday. I
mhm.
mean, from the time Halloween passes, you can feel it coming on. Oh no, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and a lot of times everyone wants to think you are the problem. And it's just they don't get a lot of it sometimes, but sometimes it's the dysfunction that is going on within your own family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that a lot of families don't like to talk about, that they have had some dysfunction in their past and now they have this family that, didn't have this dysfunction. And now you're bringing that dysfunction in and they're like, mm, mm. You know what I mean? Like, no, not here. Um, and I think that that's important for us as survivors to understand because we feel so like oh, there's something wrong with us. Now we're like devalued. We're like a broken, like you're trying to come back into your family, right? You left your abuser. You've done the hard things. You're feeling the things, and then you're going to these people, and they're not treating you the same that they did prior to your abuse, and it's really kind of another heartbreaking grief.
Hmm. Well, it's a lot of time. Like, let's start with like in the opening. They start by removing you from the group chat or the group text. They start planning everything around the holiday without you, number one, and then they want to tell you what you can do or you can bring. They really don't give you any options. And a lot of times, I know in my experiences, over many years of watching different things within families, it's because um, they're trying to protect you in some way. They're just trying to handle it for you so you don't have to worry. But they don't realize how that makes you feel, right, Amanda?
Yeah, I mean, you fulfill like they're treating you with kid gloves.
Hmm.
Kind of like, oh, we can't rattle her, or she's too de- independable, or she's too messy, or she's too inconsistent. So let's not to even assume, well, she's a single mom and her financial status is not upon our financial status. So let's not even ask her. Let's just do.
Hmm.
Well, we didn't, not even invites. I, personally in my situation, it would have just been nice to be invited and then for me to say, well, no, thank you. I'm glad you guys thought of me, but I cannot afford that. And that wouldn't have offended me. That would have actually made me feel better that I was thought of. And I think that sometimes people in situations are backwards with that and they'll think, well, I don't really want to ask them because then if they can't afford it, I don't want to make them feel bad.
Right.
And I think that happens in these situations with holidays. Like, well, maybe she can't come to this meal that we're having because at a country club or at a certain restaurant because it's a little bit out of her price range. And so then you're getting these pictures on Facebook as you're sitting at home eating your frozen, tortillas pizza. And you're like, what?
Or
You know,
yeah, or they think you're gonna bring the drama to them. Okay,
yeah.
so they already saw the drama, they saw that you experienced it, and more than likely he's isolated you from for years from them. But yet, instead of seeing him as the problem, they think you're the problem.
Mhm.
Like you had some kind of culpability in it. Like you could
Yes.
have done anything about it in those moments. And there are moments, no, a survivor, the victim could not do anything in that moment.
Well, in my case too, he was not allowed to come to
Mhm.
holidays. So then I had to choose. So I got rebellious at the beginning of our relationship and when the abuse started, and I started going and being like, well, I'm going to my family's. But I shortly learned what going to my family's meant and leaving him there on
Mhm.
holidays. So then I had to change it around to where I had to do holidays at our apartment with our babies, 9 months pregnant, like
Yeah.
cooking Thanksgiving dinner. And because he was not invited, but I did not want to live that reality of going without him either. And you're on your phone again later that night, right? And you're on Facebook and they're taking all these family pictures. And I think one of the things that went through my head was, what was other family members thinking when they didn't see me there? Where did they think I was?
Yeah. Yeah, because of a lot of times in those scenarios, they're blaming the victim. She chose him over us. They don't want to be a part of our family.
Mm.
And some of the family dynamics is they really don't know. They're not aware of the abuse going on in the background. But some of them, they make options of, well, in order to keep the family peace, like you were saying, don't bring him around.
Mhm.
And then when you come back, well, you broke that family peace because you were with him and chose him. It becomes a
Mhm.
damned if you do, damned if you don't
Yeah,
scenario.
it's kind of like, yeah, I always said that. I was always like, okay, now he's not here, and we're not, but okay, but yeah, you're still kind of messy, and you're still not kind of healed, and you're still being codependent on us to do certain things for you. And I felt, and the thing was is, and I know a lot of survivors do feel this way. You feel more accepted if you have a partner than if you're single
Right.
in certain aspects, and it shouldn't be that way, especially. And it's hard when you're a single mom. The single moms out there that go through this when their babies are young. It's hard at any age. I will say that for any of your children. I will never, demolish that. But when they're young, that's hard. So family members are like, oh, I don't really want to have to help, and they're still toddlers, and if they bring them up, we're gonna have to help her with them, and then they're gonna have to go home early, and it's just, so they kind of get more of, oh, well, you should get a boyfriend, and it's like, I can't make miracles, and this is why these women sometimes do rush
Mhm.
into another toxic relationship after leaving domestic violence, because we are made to believe being a single mom isn't always desirable and people don't want to be around it. And I'm
Right.
talking firsthand. So it's hard. It's hard for even survivors, even if you don't have children and you're coming out. The dynamic changes, especially if they, as you said, Tara, if they thought he was the good guy. If they were like, well, I personally, I mean, my family knew he wasn't the greatest person, and I was even told, well, you have a mouth on you, so I could see you getting that just as bad as him, and that so you're sitting back down there, you're coming back out of this abusive relationship, and you're just trying to regain normal. And I've even had people say, I really liked him, and you're just like,
Yeah. Oh,
I
I
really
no,
liked
I really liked him. I didn't, my family in particular didn't really like him, but there
him.
was
Right,
nothing that went on in their presence.
right.
But when we got home, it sure as heck was going to be on the holidays. Mine was a holiday warrior. I don't know if anybody else experienced that. He was going to,
Oh yeah,
on the
oh yeah.
holidays when we got
Birthdays,
home, it was going
holidays.
to be a huge event every time, every time. No holiday could go on in peace.
Mm-mm.
And
Mm-mm.
yeah, it was chaotic. So y-
Yeah.
and then they want to tell you afterward, well, I never wanted you around him. I never liked him. Da 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 da. And um, it was like, well, thanks a lot. Why didn't you talk to me more on that level?
Well, that was the thing too. They were like, well, we tried to warn you. We tried. It was too late. By the time they met him, I was pregnant with my oldest daughter. It
Right.
wasn't like they caught on to this in an early relationship where we weren't already kind of knee deep into commitments. We had a child coming. So that to me, and my family kicked me out because of him. So I was also homeless. So they really were not giving me a lot of straws to like be like, Yay! You know what I mean? I have all these wonderful, it was kind of like I
Mhm.
made choices, and you do, and I've done that, and I did that for years. I would punish myself because you go, well, these were the choices that I made, which is not true. You don't choose, but they make you believe in the abuse. These are the choices you made, so then you do have that line of frame of thinking. So you do have some sense of guilt too when you come back in and people are treating you different because again, you're like, well, I did make these choices to bring this person, and maybe I shouldn't expect them to be as forgiving or as accepting. And
Mhm.
then you kind of learn sometimes, like, no, that really did not affect them as much as you're giving them that power to think that it affected them.
Yeah.
It really didn't. The one thing I really had to come to terms with, and I'm sure you did, Tara, too, is like, we are the ones that had to go home to it every night. They did it. They could go to bed safely. They could, as much as it hurts and affects your family when it's done to you directly, they have no clue. So, and in sorts, it just because they just don't want holidays are supposed to be happy, right? And we have families that have those really like big holidays and they gotta make the big social media presence, right? And
Mhm.
and what like think about the poor survivors that are like, oh well, we don't want you in the pictures because he's missing. And we don't wanna
Oh, I
be
know! The
like
survivors who
missing.
sit there and, like, their family defended that abuser. I can't even. The family are still like, I have seen stuff. Survivors talk to us over the years about how they know that the abuse was going on. They knew everything that was happening. And they're even divorced or separated and that family still invites them over for holidays. Could you imagine? I would hit the fan. I would be an explosive volcano if that happened.
I I'm telling you, yeah, to me, I mean, I even dealt with something similar, not during the holidays, but of where the family was being more catered to than my parents were catering to their own daughters. So I could see where a parent would be like, well, he always got along with us and he has nowhere to go.
No, no, that's a
No,
no.
he does. He does.
No,
And
no.
what these families don't realize is these men can turn around and make a whole new family faster than you would be able to recover your fake hurt your feelings. Like literally, they attach themselves to women who have like strong family bonds. They'll go and sweet talk their way in and they will recreate and then they will make you look like the bad person.
Yeah. No, that's one of the dynamics that fortunately, like, because we do have generational abuse in my family, when everything went down with Ashley, boy, my family went like this and bonded together and they were like calling him out and going, oh hell no. But I can't imagine the poor survivors out there who don't have that. That this guy is still friends on their Facebook with their family members and he's sending them cards and Christmas
Uh,
presents and they're inviting him to dinner, but they're
It's crazy. And to me, I've heard again, even people like, well, if I didn't see it, then it does not affect me. Oh, it does, though. It does. And I just, again, and I know this happens commonly with people that share children because, well, he's the father. And that's my grandchild's father. And, and here's again, I think that goes back to that generational thinking of these women grew up going, we can't break the family up. This man
Mhm.
might be abusive. He might be narcissistic. He might be cheating on me. But I can, that is more of a disgrace of this family breaking up than someone finding out that he's cheating. So I think even in these now is being carried into these generations now of the mothers who are raising, and having, and it's going into where we can't have that. We
Mhm.
can't have the family looking messy. We can't have, certain things. So let's just keep it happy, happy. And if you can't keep it happy, happy, you both are gone. Like it's either, let's keep face or you disappear. There's no happy middle with some certain instances I've heard. Um, I mean, I've also heard too, Tara, where families have publicly shamed the person at, the dining room table.
Yeah.
Like you're
I
just trying to eat your sweet potatoes and like have a moment, right? Because I know like as survivors, especially what they don't understand was, as you said about your ex and my ex as well, he was holiday happy, he was birthday happy, he loved to ruin anything that was not about him. And if it wasn't going to center him, then it was going to be poo. Um, so they don't understand how of a big milestone that is for us just to sit at a table and not have to worry about someone's mood, not be too nauseous to eat because we just got screamed at. And we don't want to hear it from you. We don't want to hear it. So if you have questions, then ask appropriately. I think it's okay. I think we're okay to be like, yeah, that was, but to be like, well, why didn't you leave sooner? Or, we heard this or we heard,
Mhm.
it's not appropriate. Not, yeah.
You know, if you dive deeper into it, the whole like raw truth of it is I understand. People want peace. They want comfort. They want joy for the holiday season, right? All of us want that. But the truth is, someone in your family, just like someone, 1 out of 4 women in your family are being abused. Someone in your family, even men in your family,
Mhm.
someone is in your family is experience some form of abuse, and they are going to be uncomfortable. They are not going to be able to be in that setting and be everything that you are wanting them to be at that moment.
Mhm.
And instead of bringing them some kind of joy or comfort within that time period, they'll either make it all their fault, or they won't invite them, or a combination of any of those. And families tend to forget that, like, these abusers are charming.
Mhm. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they enlist them flying monkeys. That's a term that is used for they enlist somebody else around them to help control your dynamic. So they enlist that from their family, from your family to friends. And the holiday season is when they love to pull that card the most. And why?
Absolutely.
Why? Because, like you said, a lot of them have some narcissistic tendencies. They have to make it all about them.
Mhm.
You're trying not to ruin everybody else's holiday.
Yes.
And families want to rewrite that whole narrative to avoid even facing that abuser. You know, it's like you're disrupting their whole little happy little fantasy life of what they have in their head as to what your family should be. And come on, what the other, besides Thanksgiving, Christmas, that kind of thing, the other 363 days of the year, that family ain't dysfunctional. Uncle Tom ain't over there drinking too
Okay.
much. Aunt Betty ain't on some pills, and da, da, da. Everybody wants to write that off because that can be easily hidden.
Correct, correct. Because I mean, I don't believe I've ever been to it. And again, I love my family dearly, but we are people. I don't think I've ever been to a holiday where someone has not gotten mad, and then not like a blow up, but like for a second. I mean, like it might have blown over, but it's never been like 100% like Brady Bunch. So
Mhm.
again, I think we really do put that big label, and we make it very more emphasized, and that's just not okay.
Yeah, I think there's too much focus. I understand Brady Bunch is a good example. A lot of
Mhm.
families want to act like at the holidays it's Brady Bunch when the reality is you really are an episode of Roseanne.
You really are. You're mixing personalities. You're mixing
Yeah.
personalities. You're mixing views. I mean, and you're going to always have someone that's more boisterous, right? Because I'm thinking about that person in my head right now. And then you have an instigator, right? And there's one in every family. There's the bold one, and then there's the instigator. So, I mean, we all see it. Um,
Well, and there's always a family member who never forgets anything that happened all those years. I can remember when you're 5 years old and you set fire to the trash outside. So
right, right. And you're just like,
you were a troublemaker ever since then, right?
right, right. And I think that's the thing too that we have, and I've had to learn is there is, as you said, Tara, there are certain family members that will not let you get past your trauma. They
That,
will not let you move forth in your healing.
mm-mm,
You're stuck. And that's not a you problem. That's a them problem because of their
exactly.
mentality. That is their
Yes.
mentality. They are stuck. So then instead of being like, oh, there's Tara and she's doing so great and she is, yeah, and she's beautiful. No, but like again, but they're like, oh, there's that Tara, and she was in an abusive relationship, and and that
Oh,
they're going to be their narrative to you until
she's
unless
still
you just and
struggling and she's got drama and he's still, oh Lord, she's talking about how she had to put some additional charges. Are you kidding
are you
me?
kidding me? Yeah, and that's going to be the person that's going to be like so annoyed with you that they're going to want this to be done just because you left. They're going to be like, we're done with this, you're gone. But they don't understand that this is something that you live with for years and sometimes have to revisit in bigger moments. And as Tara said, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, well, maybe if she didn't marry him and get her butt beat, she would have more money. And maybe she shouldn't be talking about why she needs to get a second job.
Or maybe those kids would behave a little more
Would
better.
it better if their father was an abuser? And I bet her son is going to turn out.
Mm-hmm. All
I
those
mean,
things.
all those nasty kind of like pre and this is someone that hasn't spent a day with your children. And those are always the people that you're just like, when was the last time you even said hi? But you're gonna get some of those people, and it's so hard because it hurts. It hurts because especially I know personally, my story hurt because some of those people are closer to you than should be feeling that way. It is realizing that is just on them. It is not having to do with your self worth, your healing, or where you're at. Um, Once you're able though to see that, you do start understanding why they treat you the way they treat you and start feeling a little less ostracized. It still hurts, but you're still able to kind of say, oh, this is why they're behaving like this. I gotcha. And again, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make you feel better, but it does make you feel less crazy or less like, is there something wrong with me? Because you do.
Yeah.
I mean, you had your abuser telling you for how many years that there was something wrong with you. People didn't love you. Your family didn't want you. Your children didn't want you. Were a horrible mother or a horrible friend or a horrible coworker.
Well,
And
your
then
trauma becomes their inconvenience.
right, right. Or with mine, he would always brag about, I'll take the most ignorant thing that I know will hurt you. I'll store it in the back of my head and I'll throw it in your face.
Mhm.
And they do that. They'll learn your childhood trauma because they get you very comfortable with them and you're telling them things like, my mom and me never had a great relationship. And man, they really, so in that saying, when they're doing that in abuse and you come out and you're going into this family dynamic and there's someone just not giving you that grace, that's a kind of for the survivor an unsafe, right? Like, I don't want to be near that person. I don't trust that person. That person doesn't make me feel safe and welcome. Not that they're going to hurt you, but you just don't feel emotionally safe with them. And you feel,
No.
you're just like, you don't know me. You don't know me.
Mhm.
you know um and I think that is too, and I think also it's hard when you go into these dynamics and then people want to be all like, oh my god, I love you, and they were the people that were horrible to you in your abuse too. You know what I mean? They were not very supportive, and then like, see, I told you you could do it, and you're like, that's not what I thought we you were the person that told me. So it's just such different dynamics, Tara. And I think, as we said, like for men and then for women, single women, women who have children, men who have children with their abusers. And I feel very bad for men on that too, because I can tell you women, in the holidays, that has to be,
Mhm.
trying to share custody and trying to take these kids to different family. I mean, and when you are also like, I was fortunate enough to have a one family kind of holiday where we didn't have to visit different houses. We just did it at one house. But I can't imagine doing the like separate families and having to go into like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Have to deal with the different dynamics of the different, like, it's exhausting enough with one family, but then I have to go to that family, this family, and have to do the different dynamics of sharing children, custody, and and having to keep repeating yourself. And as we said, everybody's mixed bags. Like sometimes you don't want to hear from Uncle Tim because Uncle Bob just gave it to you over at Grandma's house. Like, you know what I mean? So you're just, it's
Mhm.
hard. But people really need to understand it's okay to ask questions. It's just not okay to make someone feel bad for existing.
No. No, and, that's just the dynamics of, every person's family handles it a little differently, so the
Right.
other families, they just don't invite you anymore at all.
Right? Absolutely. And they don't say anything. They just do it. There's not even a conversation. It's just like, oh yeah, we're all having this. Even other things like, oh, we're having a game night, or we went on a skiing trip, and you're just like,
And you're seeing the pictures on Facebook and you're like, "I didn't get an invite.
I didn't
I
even
didn't
know.
I didn't get to
And
do
these are,
that, and why didn't you invite me?" The
or
I'm
the family
even when you're
traditions
not
that were
with them
made.
anymore, you don't get that invite.
Well,
That breaks my heart.
and I'm gonna say you brought up a good subject with that, Tara, because see, in my head, I was like, well, when I leave him, I'm gonna be able to do it because they started these new family traditions
Mhm.
when I was in my abuse. Okay. And I understand kids get older, families progress, new traditions develop. So it wasn't like I was like, they're doing this. No, I was more like, I can't wait to get out of my abuse to join them.
Mhm.
And no, still treated like I was in my abuse and they were still doing these traditions without inviting me. And I was just living through Facebook watching it like, well, we started this without you, so we're going to kind of keep it
Right.
without you. And, I kind of brought it up one time and it was more of like, well, you were with him for all these years. So, we just kind of assumed that, this is kind of a thing we started. And I'm like, wait, what? Just because I was with him for all those years doesn't mean I don't get an invite now. Like, I thought I could clearly understand my non invite prior,
Right.
but my non invite now, what?
Yes. I imagine that was really painful.
It was more heartbreaking than getting my heart broken by a boyfriend, to be very honest with you, because I have a very big family.
Mhm.
So I got to see a lot of things where it just genuinely, as I said at the beginning, would have been nice. And at the time, I know I financially was struggling and was a single mom, but just for them to be like, "Hey, we're going on this trip. If you can save, go great. If you can't, not." But we just wanted, because that would have made me feel more valued instead of not. I didn't even know they were going half the time. So then I would be sitting at an apartment. That's why I was laughing. I'm like with the frozen pizza comment because that is kind of true. I'd be like put my kids to bed, right? Because they were little at the time, and put my Netflix on, and I'd get my adult dinner because I don't want
Mhm.
kids, and I would go scrolling on my phone, and this happened to me more than a handful of times, and every time it was almost kind of like catching your boyfriend cheating. I don't know how to. It was just a betrayal. It was almost like a really big like,
Right.
like you know what I mean, or someone that you were in love with marrying another woman. You just felt like it just hit you in the face because you did not see it coming. You were just like, what So I would be sitting there and they would be off somewhere, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that was happening. And I would bring it up kind of casually, and they would talk about it just like it was a normal thing. And I was the lady that mowed their lawn. I don't know. It was never, but
You're
it did.
definitely the odd man out because, like you said, they did it without you, so now they're moving on with their new normal.
Right,
That
right.
they the but they put out there. That's the thing. They actually offer this hope with the things sometimes that they say to you that you think once you're out of this, everything will go back to that normal that you knew before, and it doesn't.
And that was the things that, and I mean, I can remember them being like, well, if you weren't, or if you had this, or if you didn't do this. So I was like, oh, okay, well, when I leave, they're going to be more happy. They're going to be more willing to want to like bring me back into this family dynamic and be more willing. And honestly, I didn't see that until actually I got married. and I had a spouse. So it was really more of, we will bring you back into the family dynamic if we're not fully having to help you or fully, or like, because they felt single moms, I need their full support or need their full like. So when I met my husband, like, okay, now we're more willing to extend that olive branch. And it was hard, but I feel like that was more of them, again, because of my abuse, not wanting to have to help at all or be any kind of, they only wanted to see me and in the condition that there was someone else that would be what they felt responsible for me and these kids other than them. And I wasn't looking for anybody to be responsible for us, but in their head,
Mhm.
that's how they treated it. And I watched it. I mean, I was even told, God bless my father. He is definitely, a baby boomer generation. And him just saying, like, I just don't think you can do this as a single mom. And he's like, I'm not even saying that in just terms. I just don't think it's possible. So I knew somewhere in their head that it was just single mom was still messy.
Mm.
Amanda with her ex was messy, but single mom was still messy, right? It wasn't like it was, they were, and that took a long time to figure out. I mean, longer than I like to admit.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just, I have had friends tell me that they've been told by their family, they don't want the drama this year, so leave it alone. I've seen that. Um, I have felt it and experienced it in the way of more. My family was a little more supportive on that end, but um, I do have a really great side of the family when we lost Ashley that was very supportive in my grief and all of that. But other family members did not want it talked about. They didn't want what she went through talked about. They didn't want me to talk about, on that end, from my perspective, not just as a survivor, but as a grieving mother. They did not want, they wanted you to, do you have to make it all about you? Do you have to talk about this? Do you have to?
Yes. Yes.
It was so disheartening
It
because
is.
even moments, I liken it to this because I know survivors experience this in some ways as well. It was a real eye opener for me to sit there and be like with some family and some friends at church. Um, they were talking about something to do with Harry Potter. Their kids were in the Harry Potter, and Ashley loved Harry Potter. I mean, we did things like the midnight book things that happened with each one of those books when they released it and came out. Fourth, fifth grade, sixth grade, we were up there every time the new book came out in line at midnight, getting those books for her. And so they were just talking about that and just to say simply like, all I did was say simply, "Oh, Ashley loved those books," and they'd be like, one person was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to bring up anything that would create any kind of problem. Please, please." And I'm like, "You didn't bring up a problem. This is just she just liked this." And
Right.
another one going, "Well, this is something you shouldn't be talking about. Don't talk about her because they were, we don't want to hear the drama. We don't want to hear what happened. We know what happened." And I'm like, and it's very similar as to what survivors deal with.
Yeah.
We-
Yes.
you get
It's
these people,
insane.
these different attitudes. Like one person thinks you're so fragile, you're going to break. And another person just is so cold that they just want you to be quiet and put on the happy face.
Mhm.
Where does that leave you? So I think that's part of where we should go from here. So
Right.
where, Amanda, do we start to put down some boundaries for this kind of behaviors? Because we don't have to take this.
No, no, absolutely. I think one of the first things is figuring out if it's worth you going to these events for you. If this, okay, so if you're like, yeah, my parents are getting older, I do have nieces, because, like, I mean, I personally have nieces and nephews that I love more than life itself, and other people in my family. that I genuinely want to see. And if you do choose that, then you're going to have to come up with the game plan of, okay, me and Tara have talked about it before personally about code words to leave, to give yourself that time and grace to say, okay, and even do it with your family, your children, your spouse, or or even yourself. If you're going by yourself, I want to be gone by 7. So, and stick to that. And if you have to leave earlier than 7, then leave earlier than 7. But even if you say, hey, I can't do it this year. This year has been a really bad year for me. I've been really triggered this year. I'm going to sit this Thanksgiving out. Doesn't mean you're going to miss every Thanksgiving or Christmas, but that's okay too. To
Mhm.
maybe just order it or go see a friend that you really truly, or you might have other family that you really, or friends that have a family you really feel safe with. I mean, whatever is best for you in that moment.
Or
I
take
do.
support with you. Ask the family, "Oh, I wanna bring a friend," and take that support with you. So there's
Right.
somebody there who knows kind of your code word or knows what's, once you
Right.
get to a certain point, that person can be your "I gotta get home early, so, Amanda, can you please take me home? I'm sorry to bail out on y'all," but, those kind of moments.
Right.
Have
Absolutely.
that extra support in there to help you, whether it's your spouse, your new spouse, or some friends, or even somebody else, somebody usually in your family. My cousins would do that kind of stuff for me. I'd just let them know, hey, I gotta blow, and they would cover me. Yeah, but
Right.
some
Yeah. I mean,
in those relationships,
right.
get somebody to have your back who does understand.
Right. I mean, even if you can speak to a family member, I mean, I know we can't all sit down the whole family. In a perfect world, I would love to, but we just can't. Too many personalities, too many conflicted. But if there is someone in your family that you truly have felt safe with, or at least you feel has heard you in some bit of this process, go to them and be like, hey, I want to keep coming to these events. So and so, though, is really bothering me. I'm not asking you to fix it, but I am asking you how to handle this and how to move forth with, because maybe that person can give you an insider of the way that they're seeing it and you're seeing it, and they might be able to even say, hey, maybe I can say something, you
Mhm.
know. Um, Sometimes it's even better just to, again, you can even speak how you feel and say, the last time I was here, I felt really disrespected. And if this happens again, this will be the last family function that I can be at until people understand
Mhm.
that this is damaging me because
Yeah, and it may take you standing your ground for that little while, and it's hard because
it's so
the
hard.
family in some way usually has made you feel like you're the black sheep,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
You have survivor's guilt on top of that
Mhm.
you shouldn't have to be carrying.
No, and I think it
Yeah.
goes back to like the punishment. Like we always say when we punish our kids, we punish ourselves. Because like you take things away, like if you take things away from them, and you're like, oh, kind of punishing myself now because they keep asking. So I feel like when we have to set boundaries, we kind of have to punish ourselves a little bit too to establish those because we really wanted to be there. We would have loved to like got to see the new baby or meet your new fiance or meet like we would have loved, but because of the fact that there's a certain person that is making it more harder for me to be there than the 10 minutes I might be spent talking to you, I had to make this boundary. And unfortunately, it kind of sucks, but this is where we're at.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And if you have kids, like you were saying, you're trying to help keep the magic alive for your kids. You're trying to get your kids back in with your family and everything, but it's better for your children to see you set some hard boundaries and stand your ground in instances where family members are, disturbing your peace in a way where they're putting shame on you and they're manipulating you because of your past. Um, it's better for your children to see, hey, no, I'm not going to let grandma and grandpa talk to me that way, or aunt
Absolutely.
whoever, or whatever. Um, for the sake of just getting along, they've got to respect, that I'm a person too, that you guys have been through a lot. And, you have enough trauma. You don't need to add more.
Absolutely. And regardless if the adults realize this or not, and when the kids start getting older, they actually start picking up on it and it actually starts affecting them because they don't like to see their grandma or their, grandfather, aunt, uncle, or whoever it may be hurting their mom, or dad. They've already watched that parent go through enough. And children of trauma are very protective of the parent that they watched be hurt. So when they're going to these family functions, all they want to do is be a kid. And it feels very awkward if they feel like they're enjoying themselves, but their parent is not.
Mhm. Well, and the holidays can be very lonely as it is anyway. And you've already been isolated a lot of times. So you're wanting that connection. You're wanting to be there, but sometimes just silently putting up with it and sitting there can open so many old wounds for you every year. And your body will keep that score. That's for sure. And it will create anxieties that you don't need. You shouldn't have to endure that.
Right. 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 And that's the thing. I don't fulfill in the part of your healing you should have to, as Tara said, jeopardize your peace, your anxiety for certain just for a day. Cause that can make you spiral for a whole week. You know what I mean? That don't do not put yourself back for something under 24 hours.
Mhm.
It's not worth it. I've done it. That's why I say. I mean, it's just, and you don't know sometimes. So that's why it's nice to be able to sit back and go, okay, is this worth it? Is my mental health right now worth this? Am I in a good spot? Am I strong enough to handle this? Did I have another, did I just have to go to court with my ex? Am I going to be able to handle this week? Those are valid and okay questions to make those decisions with. So I think that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the biggest thing for our listeners to understand is number one, you didn't ruin anything. If somebody tells you that, they're a damn liar. I'm going to say that straight out because I have problems with that. You're not the problem. You don't owe anyone access to you.
Mm-mm.
Uh-uh. You can say no to toxic invites, right, Amanda?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't have to shrink to make others comfortable with your presence.
Mm-mm.
You don't have to attend gatherings that hurt you.
No.
So, the best solutions you can do is, you know, you can create new traditions for you, your children, yourself. You don't have to depend on your family to help you create those traditions or to bring you back into the old ones, like Amanda was talking about. But it's okay to grieve those old traditions being lost, those old times with your family. It's okay to feel that sense of loss and move forward. Choose the family you
Excuse
be
me.
with. And sometimes you have friends who become your family, who can replace your biological family. Make new rituals, bring yourself some peace. Give yourself permission to redefine what holiday means. That's the biggest thing you can do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do what you feel is best. And I'm going to be honest with you. There are some traditions I started as a single mom that I still carry over to now, and it's great. It's something that reminds you of a time that you were finding your strength, and you did that. That was no one else's decision. That was no one else's choice. That was yours. And now your kids are loving that, and you're loving that, or just personally you. That's big because you've had all those decisions made for you all those years. You don't
Absolutely. So
you don't
take back the narrative,
yeah.
just like you did when you left him. Take back the narrative. It's
Wow.
okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's okay to hurt people's feelings on holidays too. And it's okay. It's okay. You don't owe anybody. Don't let anybody make you feel bad. If you decide that, hey, I sit out and you're a family member, I don't see you and that Let them, because here's the thing, your feelings are much as important as theirs. And if they cared about your feelings, they'll care that you put boundaries up.
Hmm. If they cared about you enough, they would be sensitive to your needs and respect your boundaries. Absolutely. And it doesn't mean you have to totally cut your family off. If it is too toxic that you need to, by all means, do that. But sometimes it's just putting up, realizing this is who that person is and not expect more from what they can give.
That's where they're
Don't
at.
allow them to expect you to give more than you can give. And
Absolutely.
that's where the key lies, I think, in some family dynamics. I know that's a lot of what I deal with different members that I have of family on either sides over the years.
Absolutely.
So, well, it's getting close to time. So, I just want y'all to know out there, families will twist themselves in the knots to protect your abuser sometimes. There's families out there who are like that. Um, and then they cut you out like you're the problem. But here's the truth: they didn't save you a seat. Build your own damn table. That's right, I said it. You deserve peace. You deserve this season. You deserve some warmth. You deserve a holiday that doesn't hurt. And you deserve people you choose who
Hmm.
believe in you, who celebrate you and your healing. And they're not going to punish you for it or your past. So set your own table and bring who you need around it. That's my last word of advice for the holidays. Amanda, you want to add anything to that?
Absolutely. So again, it's okay. It's okay to put you first in these situations, and your children or just you. It's okay. And to remind yourself that you deserve so much more than having to take other people's trauma, especially when you fought for yours. You fought for yours. They didn't. Don't let someone's messy trauma compromise yours.
Amen. All right. Just a few reminders before we go. Survivor to Survivor drops every Friday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you have a question you want us to tackle about abuse, safety, healing, dating, boundaries, whatever, email us at podcast@breakthesilencedv.org. Your questions can be anonymous and your story matters, so you deserve answers. So please check out the segment or write us. The Narc Diaries, of course, over on TikTok every Wednesday and Sunday, approximately drops around 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We expose what your narcissist said to you and the manipulation tactics that they use. And it's like real life lessons over there that you wish you'd known sooner. And how to recognize those kind of behaviors and patterns. So check us out at BTSADV7 on TikTok. Follow us. And this next coming Tuesday, December 2nd, it's our Giving Tuesday broadcast marathon. So from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're hosting a podcast marathon with special guests. We'll have Q&As. We'll do some survivor to survivor replies live. Even share a few narc diary moments so you see what we're doing over there on TikTok. We're going to have some on the air interviews and try to do some fundraising to support our survivor program. So mark your calendars and join us live there. Amanda will be there with me as well. And we need volunteers urgently. So, Amanda, do you want to touch on what volunteers we're looking for?
Yes, so absolutely. So the top volunteers that we are in need of is our support line volunteers. If you have any experience with non-crisis calling, any kind of support with survivors in the past, we definitely are looking for you. We do have a non-crisis support line. This is where we give resources and kind of a kind ear. And so we're looking for someone to come on our team and be able to take a shift and be able to be available for that. We also are in dire need of social media engagement. That would be someone that would help with our different platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, and all that good stuff with moderation, answering comments, getting, our campaign links and all that good stuff out there. We are also looking for a podcast moderator. So that would be someone that would help me and Tara in the background as we are live, interacting with the audience, posting links as we talk about different campaigns, or if we have a guest and they're talking about books, just making sure that everybody's safe and engaged. So yeah, those are things that we are looking for. We have a podcast every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central Time. So that would definitely be something that you would have to be available for.
Yeah, so any positions like that right now, we are definitely looking for someone. And the last thing before we go, we want to remind everybody of our Holidays of Hope program. So every Christmas, we are reminded, like we talked about today, holidays can be incredibly painful, especially for children who've lost their parents to domestic violence. And I know the feeling personally, definitely after losing my daughter Ashley, how holidays can be really hard. So our Holiday of Hope program exists for these children. We want them to feel seen and remembered, and so the applications have closed. We do have children in there who need some things for the holidays. So please, if you can sponsor and support these children with your donation, that way every child receives a meaningful gift. And if you'd like to sponsor or donate, we're going to have a link here in the description so you can help us bring a little bit of hope to families who are hurting this Christmas. And we're going to close out with a little video presentation about our Holidays of Hope, and we will see you Tuesday for the Giving Tuesday Marathon. Thank y'all.
This Christmas, some children are facing their first holiday without a parent. Lost to domestic violence, these little ones are learning what it means when a chair stays empty, when stockings hang unfilled, when the magic of Christmas feels impossibly far away. But you can change that. Through BTS ADV's Holidays of Hope program, your donation becomes more than a gift. It becomes proof that they are still loved, still remembered, still worthy of joy. A teddy bear reminds them of comfort. Art supplies spark creativity that trauma tried to steal. A simple toy whispers what they need to hear most: you matter. These children have lost so much, but they don't have to lose Christmas too. Donate today. Sponsor a child's holiday. Give them the gift of knowing that even in their darkest moment, a community of caring hearts surrounds them. Visit breakthesilencedv.com